Well, hello there, and welcome to Centurion Session number 5. During this session, we are going to cover Canvas quizzes. Obviously, a very important part of the Canvas offerings. Allows you to do a lengthy final exam. Maybe you want to do a unit test. Maybe you just want to do a quick assessment of something that you just covered in your class. In any case, Canvas quizzes can help you with that. So let's get started. Click on the quizzes within the course navigation, and you'll see here that I have 0 quizzes so far. This is one place where I can add, edit, and adjust quizzes. As you can see here, there's a plus quiz, which would allow me to add a quiz. I can also go into my modules, so I click on that in course navigation, and within my week 1 example module, I have some items already. I have a Today's Meet back channel discussion that we already had. It was very successful. It was awesome. You should have been there for it. All I need to do is click on this plus sign right here where it says Add Type. I'm going to change it to Quiz. But in this case, I'm just going to click on New Quiz. I'm going to call this quiz Week 1 Canvas Overview Quiz. But in any case, we know what we're talking about. So there it goes. It went ahead and added it. Now, if we go to our quizzes section and click on that, we'll also see that that quiz has also been added where we didn't have quizzes before. In order for us to fine-tune the quiz and make it specific to what we're trying to achieve, we simply need to go to Edit. And so what we can do now is we can change the name. Okay. Notice that the Details tab here is selected. That's a very important tab because there are 2 of them. There's also a Questions tab, but we'll get to that Questions tab a little bit later. Within here, you can also add some quiz instructions. Maybe you don't want it to be graded. Maybe you just want to do a practice quiz. You can add that. Maybe you want to shuffle your answers. You have that option. You can add a time limit. If you choose to have a time limit, you can do that here. You can also allow for multiple attempts. You can also allow students to see their responses to their answers. And then there's different settings for that as well. Last and certainly not least, pertaining to the details of the quiz, is your ability to assign this quiz. And then I'm going to make sure that I click on Save. We're now to the point where we want to add questions. And so to do that, we're going to go back to Edit, like we did before. Now, as it stands currently, we do not have any questions. So there's 2 ways to do it. What's the best way? The answer to that is that's entirely up to you. So the first thing I want to do is show you how to just create an individual question. And to do that is quite simple. You just click on New Question. And that will pop up a dialog box that will allow you to give the question a name. You ready for this? Question 1. Designate what type of question it is. And you can see there's a lot of preloaded question types here that you can choose from. I'm just going to go with a true and false here, and you can also select a point value, 2. Now is the fun part. You can go ahead and add in your question itself. Remember, this quiz pertains to the Canvas overview, and maybe one of the first things I said was true or false. Canvas is an LMS. Now we see it's either true or false. By default, it's going to be set to true, which in this case, it is the correct answer. But what if we said Canvas is not an LMS? Then the correct answer would be false. Well, how do we get it set so that they can answer that and it can be correct? We simply click on that green arrow, okay? And that will set the correct answer to false. If we move directly down below here, you can give comments to if they select the right answer. You can give comments to if they select the wrong answer. And you can also give additional comments. Okay. When you are done with that, you simply click on Update, and that question is now stored within your quizzes. The next thing that I want to throw at you is you have the ability to create a question group. So let's do a question group. Okay, and we're going to call this Group 1. And we want Canvas to randomly select, let's pick 5 questions, and we'll stay with a 2-point theme. And so we create the group. Now right now, there's no questions in the group. Obviously, that's not ideal. So what we're going to need to do is click on this plus item right here, and that will allow us to add questions to the group. I could add 10 questions, and Canvas, when it's time for the students to take the quiz, in this particular group would only present 5 questions because that's what we told Canvas to select. Another thing that we can do is we can actually use a question bank. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click on Find Questions. And what we could do is find one of our question banks that we already have in here. So in this case, I'm just going to go to this one. It says it has 50 questions within it. And you're going to see that I have a whole list of questions in here. And so you just go through and you check the ones that you want to use. Okay, and just like that, I have 6, 7, I think I'm counting right, 8, 9. Okay, obviously you would be more selective than that. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you have the ability now to add the questions to a question group, okay, which we happen to have created. And I click on Add Questions. Canvas, when the students take the quiz, will select 5 questions for the students to use during this particular question group. Now, what if you wanted to add questions, but not within a question group, from a quiz bank? All you have to do is click on Find Questions, and we're going to go ahead and go to Chapter 4. Now let's stick with Chapter 1, and we're going to go ahead and select all. And now we can go through and unselect ones that we deem to, not be good. So I got the one selected that I want. I just click on Add Selected Questions, and that will add all of those questions to my quiz. Most importantly now is go down and make sure that you click on Save. One thing you may be wondering is how in the world did you get those question banks on there? Where did they come from? Is that something that we need to come to you, Kevin, and add, or is that something that we can do on our own? And the answer is you can do it on your own. And there's 2 ways to add your question bank. I will tell you that Canvas has to work through some things here. It's a little bit finicky. But one way to add your questions is to go back to your quiz area here. And this settings wheel has one option right now, and that's to manage your question banks. And from here, you can go through and take a look at what each question bank has to offer. You can actually get rid of questions within your question bank, so that might make it easier for you to go through each time and select the questions that you want. Because as you can see right here, this question bank, I believe this one has 150. I think if I go back, 150 questions in it. So if you're just doing a quick quiz, that's a lot of questions to go through. It might be something that you want to modify the questions that are contained within it. Another way to add your question banks is if maybe you're pulling in a question bank from a textbook provider. In that case, you're going to go to your course settings here. And then over to the right, you're going to go to Import Content into this course. And from here, at the top, it says Import Content. You're going to go ahead and select the content that you would like to import. In this case, I'm going to import a QTI, Quiz and Test Interoperability, zip file. And then I need to find it. Now, most likely prior to this, you had downloaded either from the course text website or you had gotten them sent to you directly from your textbook rep. In any case, you're going to find that file. In my case, I have some on the desktop. I'm just going to try and import Chapter 5. Let's see if that works for me. I don't add them to a specific question bank because it just doesn't seem to work. Canvas has been notified of this and is working on it. But the key is here, as you can see, it's running, it's completed, and now it's done. I had been running into issues, if I go back to quizzes, with these items importing. So if I go back to manage my quiz banks, hopefully it worked, and it didn't work. But what you can see here, and this is what we need to get to the bottom of, Chapter 4, before, if you rewind the tape, had 150 questions in it. Now, since I did that import, it has 200 questions in it. And I know that Chapter 5 had a 50 question bank. So for some reason, it automatically imported it to the Chapter 4 option. I can delete the Chapter 4 option, and in my experience, it brings it right back and adds to it. So, but I do know that it imported it. Even though for some reason it is reading as October 19 at 11:26, I see that that number has gone up. And so those questions are in there. But this is far from ideal. This is something that we're working on getting fixed. It is a beautiful thing when it does work. So don't be discouraged by it. I can help you with it. And most of you have a good grasp on this and can work through it on your own. But like I said, we're more than happy to be here to help you work through this. You also have the option, if you're into rubrics, to add a rubric. So if I go ahead and click on Show Rubrics, there are currently none displayed because I haven't added any. You can actually add a rubric right from here, create a rubric. And so maybe if you have essay questions or multiple essay questions within your test, quiz, or exam, you can actually set up a rubric to give feedback, okay, to assess how they did on that particular, whether it's a short answer, long answer, essay. But you can add a rubric to a test, which is really a nice feature. When you're ready to rock and roll, you simply click on Publish, and we now have more options within the settings wheel. Okay, in addition to Show Rubric, we can now preview it right from here. I recommend you preview your quiz so that you can see what your students will see. When students have taken this quiz stats will be available here, but since no students have actually taken the quiz yet, you're not going to see an option for quiz statistics. But one item that has come up several times from instructors is, how do I give a student retakes? A student has accommodations in which they actually should be able to give or have gotten more time on the quiz or be granted more time. This is where you will go to access these items, and you can go to Moderate this quiz, and from here you will have a list of all of your students within the course, and it will show you how many attempts or what attempt, how many attempts they have left. Maybe you gave them multiple attempts, 6 attempts. They've taken it twice. There's 4 left to take. The amount of time spent on it. Also, their score that they received. Now, let's say that you would like to give a couple students some modifications. Okay, so I selected 2 students. I can give them extra attempts. Okay, and that will allow me to give them more attempts. You don't have to do multiple students. Notice that once I click on a name, that change extension pops up. I can also just do it by 1 student. Okay. There also should be an option to give extended time. The reason that's not popping up right now is because I didn't actually set a time limit to begin with. If I had set a time limit in that case, and let me actually, I'm pretty sure that that's the issue. So if I just go to Edit quick and go to my details and do a time limit and say, you only get 30 minutes to do this quiz, and save that because saving is important. And now, when I go to my details and moderate this quiz, I should have the option to give, there we go, give extra time. So you have a student that has an accommodation that says, give extended time on a quiz and test. Right now, they have 30 minutes. We want to give them 90 more. Okay, so we save that, and just like that, we have a little note here that says, gets 90 extra minutes on each attempt. Keep in mind, if the accommodation is that they get 60 minutes to take a quiz and you have it set for 30, well, in that case, you'd only want to set it to 30 because in addition to the 30 that they already have, they get an extra 30 minutes, which, if my math is correct, tells me they now have 60 minutes. So we're pleasing their accommodation. So that's Canvas quizzes right there. If you have any questions about what we just covered today, please don't hesitate to contact me. Once again, make sure that you visit the faculty page for more information. Thank you for joining me during Canvas quizzes. Have a great day.